Hey guys, today we're going to learn the triangle stance and white crane and the level 1 white crane strikes. Okay, so let's get started. First, let me show you what the triangle stance is and how you can get into it. Okay, so you can go ahead and just put your feet together, stand feet together, shoulder width. Okay, shoulder width apart, that's fine. Now what you're going to do, just step one foot back. Okay. As if you're in a front stance, just not as deep, okay? So, if you recall, this is the front stance, where the feet are actually a little wider than shoulder width, right? In our front stance. But, for now, just keep your feet shoulder width apart and just step one foot slightly back, okay? Okay. Now, once you have done that, the foot that's in front, the lead leg that's bent, this is going to be your power leg for the triangle stance. Just like the front stance, this is your power leg. What changes though is the back leg. Instead of pointing straight ahead, the foot of the back leg is actually going to turn in. That leg is actually going to rotate in. You should feel the thighs come together and wedging. You should feel those thighs scissor together when you do this. With that front foot pointed forward, the back foot just turns in slightly, and actually the toes of the back foot are going to point at the heel of the front foot, okay? That leg is straight. There's no bend in that leg, okay? That leg is nice and straight. You're completely extending, relaxing that calf muscle. You're letting that leg go completely straight. So we're almost in our triangle stance. There's only one more part to this, and that's going to be your guard hands. Okay? In our triangle stance for white crane, the opponent is pretty much, of course, is in front of you. Your lead foot is actually pointing to your opponent. So again, the back foot is pointed to the heel of the front foot, and the front foot is pointed towards the opponent. I'm actually sideways, and I appear to be sideways to the opponent. Only my upper body is. Now this is your guard position. All you do is raise those arms up, both of them. I know it looks like I'm only raising the one up in the front, but I'm not. The one in the back is coming up as well. Just as if you were doing lateral raises with dumbbells, those arms just come straight up. They're not skewed, they're not off your body. Here, keep everything vertical, spine straight. Just raise the arms, okay? There's an advantage to this, the fact that your opponent is going to be unable to see your backhand. That gives you a little bit of an advantage, okay? That backhand is hidden. All right, so right now you're in the triangle stance for white crane, okay? To transition to the other side, we're just going to transition in place. Just slide the feet, shift the body, and watch what happens with my guard hands as well. I'm turning, okay? Now that foot that was the back foot becomes the front foot, okay? So I turn, my legs just switch position. See that? And I can bring, we had 1 foot forward, you can bring that back, of course. But we're just switching here. I rotate, my feet rotate. This is my right foot. It's actually going to rotate. And once it is straight pointed forward, that's where it's going to stop. Of course, my right leg keeps on rotating and turns for what's called lockout. Lockout is when those thighs are wedged together. Lockout is when you're in your triangle stance, okay? So, just do this a little more, and of course, like I said, keep your eye on my guard hands. My guard hands, they don't change until the last second. You'll notice the legs go first. My feet just slide. They slide. You don't pick up any leg. I just slide. See that? And of course, you can step whichever foot back, that need be. So again, just shift. Hopefully you can see my feet. So again, to make this back leg the front, and make this front the back, I'm just going to shift in place, turn, turn, turn. This foot that's in front, I can actually step it back a little bit. I can actually step it back and lock out. Okay? So now I'm on the other side. So now my right foot is pointed straight ahead, and my left foot is pointed towards the right heel. It's pointed towards the heel of the front foot. I shift again, lock out. I shift again, lock out. You'll feel lock out when those thighs wedge together. Okay. Just let those feet slide. It's difficult to do this in place. It'll make more sense as we go forward and backward. But for now, I'm just trying to do it in place. So right now, I've got my right foot pointed forward. It's facing towards the opponent. My left leg is completely straight. The toes of my left foot are pointed towards the heel of the front foot. Guard hands up. That back foot disengages. That's the first thing that happens. The drive comes from my front leg. That's the power. The back foot just disengages. It slides up. It doesn't lift up. It just slides. And then it comes out. See that? It comes up, then out. I hold those guard hands until the last second when my spine can no longer take it, and then I lock out. Okay? Makes sense? So now my left foot is pointed forward, and the toes of my right foot are pointed towards my left heel. Locked down in triangle stance. So again, to switch to the other side, here my guard. You see my guard hands, where they need to be. My right foot's going to disengage. It's going to slide. It's going to slide towards the front foot a little bit. Slide, and then come out as if I'm skating. As if I am skating. I'm just sliding, and then it comes out. Now you'll see my body shift. It's going to go in this direction. Okay? That foot that came up, and then it comes out. When it does come out, it is locked in place, because as soon as that foot steps out and it is in front, the foot that was in back, as soon as it slides up and comes out, it is locked in place because it is facing forward. You need to stop that rotation. Don't over-rotate the front foot, or don't over-rotate the back when it becomes the front foot. Comes up, comes out. As soon as it comes out, it's stuck. It is nailed in the ground. That foot is nice and straight. Toes are pointed ahead. Now that leg that was originally the front leg just rotates, and of course my guard hands follow. Okay? Back leg slides up, comes out. As soon as it comes out, toes are pointed forward. They are locked in place. That foot does not move. And then my body locks out. This leg and back, nice and straight, with the toes pointed to the heel of the front foot. Back leg comes up. It doesn't need to make contact with the front foot. It just comes up, and then it slides ahead. It comes from the back, comes up, and then slides ahead. Okay? As soon as it comes out, as soon as that back foot comes up and comes out in front, it is locked in place once again, with toes pointed forward. I still have the power on that back leg. That back leg is still tight and still contracted, and I blast the power from that leg. Lock out. A few more times. Slide the feet. Just slide the feet. And I'm going to hold that spine. My guard hands, my upper body. I'm going to hold that position until the last split second when I no longer can. Almost like a wind-up toy. Almost like a coiled spring, rather. The spine coils up, it coils up, it coils up. I hold those guard hands, I hold the last split second, and then lock out. Okay? Again. Back foot comes up. It doesn't have to touch. It just slides up, then comes out and keeps straight. That spine stays, and then it lets go. Okay? When you can no longer keep the twist of that spine anymore, then you finally release that last split second when you do your lockout. When you do your lockout in stance. Up, out, turn, and lockout. Okay, so let's just do some down and back flaps. Let me show you what it looks like. Let's go forward in it. I'm going this direction. That back foot comes up. It comes up, it then skates out. Toes pointed straight ahead. Comes up, skates out, and then I do a lockout. Back foot comes up, skates out, lockout. Back foot comes up, skates out, lockout. Back foot comes up, skates out, lockout. Okay? So I'm at the end of my mat here. I want to show you a transition that you're going to learn. Might as well show it now. To turn around and do a 180, it's going to look like I'm doing a stealing step. My back foot actually comes behind the front foot, much like a stealing step. Back foot behind the front, twisting my body. Now I go with that rotation, much like a stealing step, and I lock out in the other direction. Okay? I'll show that again. My back foot, just do a stealing step. Just imagine you're in tiger claw. Imagine you're in a side horse. I know it doesn't feel that way, but back leg, just do a stealing step behind the front. And do that 180 rotation. And then lock out. When you lock out in stance, again, front foot is always, those toes are always pointed forward. The toes of the back foot are always pointed to the heel of the front foot. Okay, I'm going to lap this way. Back foot slides up and then skates out and lock out. Back foot slides up, comes out, and lock out. Slides up, skates out, and lock out. That sliding, that skating out, that all happens before my upper body unwinds. Once again, the upper body unwinds the last split second. Up, out, lock out. Slides up, comes out, lock out. I lock out, and again, that back leg locks out. That back leg, of course, locks out at an angle. Those thighs wedged together with the toes of the back foot pointed towards the heel of the front foot. Okay? Out. Slides up, comes out. Out. You don't want to bob up and down, by the way. You want to stay level throughout. So stay level. To do that, you're going to keep that front leg nice and coiled. That's your power leg. Don't come up and down on that front leg. Keep it level. Up and out. Slides up, comes out, lock out. Okay, all right, that's enough of that. I'm going to show you the 4 strikes that you'll learn. The 4 strikes that you'll learn for white crane for level 1. Okay? Starting with the straight punch. Number 1. I'm going to show you the straight punch number 1. Personally, I don't use it, but if you find that it's more comfortable for you than the straight punch number 2, then go ahead and use it. There's nothing wrong with that. Let me just show you what it looks like. Okay, so again, I'm in my triangle stance for white crane. Let me get this way. The toes of my front foot are pointed at my opponent. My body appears to be sideways to my opponent. My guard hands are up, and my back arm is up. You just can't see it. Remember, think dumbbell raise. Think shoulder raise. Okay? Both of my arms are up. I'm in guard. Toes of my back leg for 1 is straight, completely straight. There is no bend here in my knee gap of the back leg. It is straight. Toes of the back leg are pointed at the heel of the front foot. Front foot is pointed forward, ahead, towards the opponent. Okay, so go ahead and make horizontal fists. Make a horizontal fist. Let me just show you what straight punch number 1 looks like. That back foot again comes up. You're going to do your stance change. Slides up, steps out, and lockout. As you saw, my arm in front actually did a clearing move. That's a characteristic of straight punch number 1. Back foot slides up, comes out, lockout. If you can see my backhand, the one that actually punches, it comes off the hips. Always throw your strikes off the hips. I mean, that's true of every style that we've been practicing so far. Okay? Back foot slides up, comes out, and lockout. Okay? And here I am with a horizontal fist. Coming to the camera, I slide up, I slide out, and I lock out. Slide up, slide out, lock out. Slide up, slide out, lock out. Remember, do not punch until your body pretty much forces you to unwind. The stance transition is going to make your spine coil up like a spring. When you can no longer hold that tension, then you release it at the last split second. And that's how you generate a lot of the power. The power comes from the back, from the drive leg. Yeah, that's true. But in order to maximize the transfer of that power into your hip rotation, you've got to lag that hip rotation the last split second. And punch. Slide, slide, and punch. A good thing about the triangle stance is your opponent's going to be distracted by your leg work. He sees that your body is shifting, focuses the eyes down low, and that's a good thing. Taking his eyes off of, for one, he can't see the hand that's behind you, which is the attacking hand. So he's looking down at your feet because they're making movement, and then they come out, and then you unwind. Okay, once again, straight punch number 1, there's a clear. That horizontal fist in front, as you come up and slide out, it clears out. That backhand comes shooting off the hips. It shoots off the hips. Here we go again. Slide up, I slide out, that arm just clears, it just goes like this, it just swings open, and that backhand shoots off the hips. I'll do it in really slow motion here. Back foot slides up, slides out, hold it, hold it, hold it, lock out. And that wasn't too slow, let me do it again. Back foot comes up, slides out. I'm still holding that tension in the power leg. It is still bent, contracted. I'm not bobbing up and down. I'm keeping that contraction. Back foot slides up, slides out, and lock out. See that fist flies off the hips. It flies off the hips, okay? Don't throw that punch from the shoulder like this. No, it's coming off the hips, just like when we do tire claw. When we do everything in tire claw, all your strikes come off the hips. Okay? That hip rotation, your legs and the hip rotation is what gives you power. Don't upper body. Don't use shoulders and upper body for power. Okay? I'll do a couple more times. I'm going to do a lap of this, and then I'm going to show you that 180 degree rotation again. That 180 degree stance change. So, just going to do a lap. You can just watch or follow along. Slides up, slides out, clear, lock out. 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 Okay, for the 180 turnaround, my back foot again steps behind the front foot, much like a stealing set, pretty much exactly like a stealing set. Behind the front. Then go with that 180 rotation and lock out. We'll do it the other way. Slides up, slides out, lock out. Slides up, slides out, lock out. Slides up, slides out, lock out. The 180 turnaround. Back leg, stealing step. And then I go with it and lock out. Okay, good. All right, next strike is the high punch, okay? This one's going to be really awkward, really strange, but I'm going to show it to you. The striking surface is actually this. Is this right here. You're just going to make a fist like you normally would, but the striking surface is this. Okay? If that makes sense. What I'm slapping right now, that is the striking surface. You know, you use this with caution, of course. You're going to be using this high punch much like an uppercut, much like a cannon punch in the tiger claw. So to think that this striking surface engages the chin of your opponent. Okay, let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so I'm at the camera. Guard hands are up. Back foot slides up, slides out. Okay, this motion is like this. The high punch, it comes up, and you bend through. Don't come up with straight arm. You're going to really hurt that elbow. Come up with slight bend, and then bend through. Okay, you're bending that arm through the chin. Okay? Make sense? Okay, you would start with a slight bend, then it bends more, bends more, bends more, and engages the chin and bends through. Okay? Okay, again, high punch. Let me do it towards the camera. So here I come. Slide in, slide out. I'm not going to do the clear anymore. I'm just going to drop that arm. Okay? I'm just going to bring that arm. I'm just going to exchange hands. I'm just going to exchange hands. All right, actually, let me back up a second, guys. Okay. I showed you the straight punch number 1. I'm going to show you the straight punch number 2. It'd probably be confusing if I show high punch now. Let's just do straight punch number 2. Okay? Straight punch number 2, the only difference? Actually, there are 2 differences. Number 1, I don't have a horizontal fist, I have a vertical fist. I have a vertical fist. Okay? I'm going to do my stance change, so slide up, slide out, and then my hands are just going to exchange, they're going to replace each other. Rather than that clear, rather than doing a clear of any kind, my backhand actually just replaces the front hand, and it happens off the hips. Okay? So I slide up, slide out, and my hands replace. They fly off the hips. I'm doing triangle stance. Front foot slides up, slides out, and then arms replace each other. Slides up, slides out, replace. Backhand replaces front hand. Vertical fists. You're flying both arms off the hips. Off the hips. Okay, let me do this sideways for you so you can see. Back foot slides up, slides out, and exchange of hands. Up, out, lock out with vertical fist. Up, out, lock out with vertical fist. The arms come in. They come into the hips. Then they fly off the hips. They exchange. They trade. On the camera. Slide up, slide out, and lock out. Trade the hands. No clear. No clear, no lateral swinging of any kind. The arms just shoot off the hips with vertical fists. Okay? I wanted to show you this because it'll make the high punch make a lot more sense. Okay, so here I come at the camera. I'm just going to hold those vertical fists. Again, you cannot see my backhand because I am appearing to be sideways to my opponent. My guard hands, just again, like you lift, like you do a dumbbell lateral raise. Okay? So here I come. I've got my vertical fist. Back foot slides up, slides out, lock out. I'm going to do it really slow this time. Back foot comes up, slides out, hold it, hold it. Now I rotate the upper body. See my fists come to my hips. Then as I lock out, they explode out. Again, back foot comes up, slides out. I hold that torsion in my upper body. I hold that torsion in my spine for the last second. Back foot comes up, slides out, hold that torsion, and then release it off the hips. Okay? Let me do a few more, just nice and easy here. Slides up, slides out, exchange. Slides up, slides out, lock out, exchange. Slides up, slides out, lock out, exchange. slides up, slides out, lockout, exchange. Okay, does that make sense? My backhand is just trading places with the front hand is all. You are moving forward. You're definitely pursuing, you're going forward, attacking your opponent. You're closing distance. But again, those hands just replace each other. Okay, so with that being said, go with whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to do straight punch number 1, that's fine. If you want to use straight punch number 2, let's just not, we're not going to wait until level 2. You can go ahead and use it now. I don't mind. But now back to the high punch. Okay, so this will make more sense. I'm in my triangle stance. Again, back leg is completely straight. No kink in the knee in the knee pit of the back leg. That back leg is completely straight. The toes of the front foot are pointed at the opponent, which is he's in front of me. My guard hand, the hand that's in front, that is also facing the opponent. I have a guard hand in back. If you got good stance work, it cannot be seen. You can see it now because I'm swinging it. But again, if I just pretend that I have 2 dumbbells and do a lateral raise up to shoulder level, keep those arms there, and that's your guard. Okay? So with the high punch, I got my guard hands up. This will make more sense now when I throw the high punch off the hips. I do my stance change, so I slide up, slide out, and lock out. And as I lock out, I'm going to exchange the hands with that backhand instead of coming out with that vertical fist and doing a straight punch number 2. It swings from the bottom. It swings from the bottom and comes up. Okay? It swings from the bottom, it swings. And again, the striking surface is this. This right here, this part. Okay? See that? It comes up. It comes up with a kinked elbow. And then the further I go in the progression of the move, that elbow bends. It bends, it bends, it bends. It follows through. Okay? Again. Here I come. Okay? Here I come. I actually did a clear hand on the front arm. Let me not confuse you. So I slide up from the back, slide out, I do my lockout, and I come out with a seemingly straight arm, but it bends in motion. It bends. It's a progressive bend. It starts slightly bent, then it bends, 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 bends. You actually make contact with the chin on top of this striking surface at a pretty good bend in the elbow, and then you follow through. Okay? That's the only way that you're going to refrain from injuring your elbow. If you make contact with the chin with a barely bent or a straight arm, you're going to really injure your arm. It doesn't feel good at all. You've got to bend progressively through that chin. Okay? So here we go. I've got my hands up. I do my stance change, so I slide up, slide out, lock out. I'm going to do it sideways. Slide up, slide out, lock out. See that? You see how my arm progressively bends? Okay, let me do it again. Back foot slides up, slides out, lock out, progressive bend. Back foot slides up, slides out, and lock out. With a high punch. This is the high punch once again. Again, back foot slides up, slides out, and lock out. High punch. Okay, I won't belabor that anymore, so let's move on. Next is the hook punch. Okay, the hook punch, the striking surface, like the high punch. This was a new striking surface. So we're also going to learn a new striking surface for the hook. In the white crane, it's this. This is your striking surface. Get the thumb out of the way by placing it on top of your index finger. Your striking surface is the bottom palm of the hand and the tops of your fingers here. The middle segment of your finger. That with the bottom part of your palm. It makes a flat surface when you engage your hand in this position. Okay? So that's the striking surface for the hook. This is what it looks like. And we're actually going to use a lateral clear with our hook. Okay? I know we were shooting the high punch and we were shooting the straight punch number 2 off the hips. You're still using hip rotation with the hook, but the hook, you know, just by design, it is a lateral motion. It is a lateral movement. Okay, so here we go. On my guard, back leg's locked out with toes pointed to the heel of the front foot pointed forward. Now do that. Now imagine doing a dumbbell side lateral raise, arms up, near a guard. Okay, we're in our triangle stance now. So what's going to happen is I want to actually use my front hand and do a clear, a back fist clear. You're going to use the back of the hand, do a back fist clear, and then you're going to follow with a hook, using that striking surface I just showed you. So here it looks like this. I slide up with the back foot, so do your stance change. Slide up with the back foot, step out, clear back fist, follow through hook. That hook, it's not like this. You're not doing a tiger claw hook. You're actually going to engage with an almost fully extended arm. Slight bend in the elbow, of course, so you don't injure yourself, but this is for long range. And it comes across like this. Bam, like this. Okay? As opposed to this. No, not 90 degrees. This is an obtuse angle now. Almost like you're going to clothesline someone, but they're not going to hit you on the arm. They're going to make contact with your hand in this position. Okay? So let me do it again. Back leg slides up, slides out. I do a back fist clear with the front hand, follow through with my hook. Back leg slides up, slides out. I do a back fist clear, follow through with hook. A lateral motion. A lateral motion. No ups and downs or any angles, just a lateral motion. Back leg comes up, comes out, back fist clear. Back leg comes up, comes out, back fist clear. Back leg comes up, comes out, back fist clear. Back leg comes up, comes out, back fist clear. Remember that back leg, it slides up. It slides out, and as soon as it slides out, as soon as the back foot becomes the front foot, it is locked in place. Remember that? Back foot slides up from the back. Back foot slides up to the front foot. Then it slides out. As soon as it comes out, it is locked in place, pointed forward. Don't let that rotation skew your foot outward. As soon as it comes out, it is locked in place. It is nailed in the ground. Okay? Comes up from the back, slides out, and I do my stance change. And I do my lockout. Up, out, lockout. Up, out, back fist clear, hook. Slide up, slide out, lockout, back fist clear, hook. Slide up, slide out, back fist clear, hook. Slide up, slide out, back fist clear, hook. Slide up, slide out, back fist clear, hook. You're still using the torque in your spine. That tension, that coiled spring effect, that still applies. That always applies in white cranes. You don't unwind your power until the last split second. Back fist slides up, slides out, and then lock out, back fist clear, or back fist hook. Okay. Okay, moving on. Last strike is our down punch. Down punch, you're actually going to use the same striking surface that I just told you with a hook. You're still using the same striking surface, except you're coming over your head and down. Okay? Okay? I know we've done hammer fist, the tiger claw, where you come straight down with the hammer at the bottom of the hand. So it's that same direction. You're coming down vertically, straight and vertical. Just a different striking surface. So this. And there's more range, of course. Your arm is almost fully extended. Again, with a slight bend in the elbow. Okay? This is going to feel really uncomfortable. And you might worry a little bit because your arm is so long. You might worry about your elbow, of course, especially with a high punch. That's understandable. But the more you practice, the lesser those awkward feelings will be. Okay, so get into your triangle stance. Guard hands up. Okay. So I am actually going to, well, first let me show you what it looks like. Guard hands up. I'm going to do my stance change. So slide back foot up, slides out. And as I lock out, my back arm actually just comes over the body and comes down. That's the strike. Swing it over and down. Swing it over and down. Okay? I know we've done a lot of arm swings like this in a sideways fashion. Just imagine you're doing in a front fashion. Now imagine doing that arm swing just over the body, from the back and over the front. Okay? So here I go, I do my stance change, and I come over and down. Stance change, over and down. Stance change, over and down. Stance change, over and down. We do it in slow motion. Stance change, lock out, over and down. Okay? Let me do it sideways so you can see better view. I do my stance change. So back foot slides up, slides out, lock out. My back arm just comes over and down. There's not any other real way I can explain it. Over and down. Once again, we've done our arm circles like this. Just imagine you're doing an arm circle like this now. Okay? Instead of doing an arm circle in front of you, just do an arm circle to the side of you. That's pretty much how the motion of your down punch is going to be. Okay? I'll do it a few more times. Stance change, slide up, slide out, lock out, over and down. Stance change, slide out, lock out, over and down. Stance change, slide out, lock out, over and down. Stance change, lock out, over and down. Okay, and I'll show a few more of those 180 turns so you see that again. The back foot does a stealing step behind the front. 180 turn, lock out. The back foot does a stealing step behind the front. 180 turn, lock out. Back foot, steal step behind the front foot. 180 turn, lock out. Back foot, stealing step behind front. 180 turn, lock out. Okay, so that is the triangle stance. Those are the strikes you're going to learn. I might redo this video just for better quality, but for now, just try out these moves and do the best you can. Thanks. Bye.